People deluded. I'm back again. Allegedly, Tierney has an asking price of £10 million. Fabio Vieira could be going back to Porto. Arsenal have not given up in their pursuit of Joshua Zirkzee. And where Benjamin Sesko is concerned, the rumours circles are still circling people. As we know, 99.9% of these rumours are BS, but it makes for great talking points. Big up you lot for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you allow me a couple of seconds to share my screen, we'll get straight into what we need to get into. As I said, get the creative juices flowing. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Now, where Benjamin Sesko is concerned, it seems like he's the favourite for Arsenal to sign where the striker position is concerned. As we know, what's actually going on in the world of football and what's being projected and presented in the media outlets are very different things. A lot of rumours say, you know, this needs to be sorted before the Euros, probably in relation to his release clause. As we know, both Arsenal, Chelsea, and Manchester United allegedly are all circling. There is also the logic of him signing a new deal at Leipzig for, you know, obviously a bigger salary, and either to increase this release clause after a blistering first season, you know, towards the end, or remove it in its entirety, which obviously means more money. And at 21 years of age, he's only just scratched the surface for where he's concerned. And I think where his age is concerned, his physical profile on a tactical front, and how he can help us in the short, medium, and long term, I could see why he's an attraction to Arsenal. Shameless plug, but I've done 2 specific analysis videos on Benjamin Sesko, so make sure you check them out. Allegedly, Arsenal believe they are the favourites to sign Benjamin Sesko at present, with the player's agent indicating that they wish to make a decision before the start of the Euros on Friday. A contract extension at Leipzig has also not been ruled out, with that being possible. Now, again, this is where we need to tread very carefully, because the media is saying he's destined for Arsenal. We've seen what Chelsea have done with the pursuit of Mikhail Mudryk, and whatever you say about where Manchester United and Chelsea are at this moment in time, based on the club, they are good options. You know, for Sesko, he might say, do you know what, Højlund's same age as me, I might be able to take his position. At Arsenal, I could take Havertz's spot, but he's probably the top don, and Chelsea need a forward. And again, his agent could be playing all parties against each other. He could be utilising the interest or alleged interest from British clubs and abroad within Leipzig to try and get his client a better deal. He could obviously be putting Arsenal and Chelsea and United all against each other. So we don't know, people, in that regard. So yeah, man, it would be nice to see him confirmed before the Euros. It'd be nice to get business done early, and I'm sure he would want to go into the Euros with a clear head. But who knows, people? The Euro starts on Friday. Unless something's going on in the backwaters we don't know, then I wouldn't expect this to be decided anytime soon. But once again, let me know your thoughts. Arsenal transfer for 55 million star could be approved next week. Arsenal's bid to sign Benjamin Sesko continues to burn on as we grow closer to the start of pre-season in the Premier League, with the RB Leipzig striker continuing to see new clubs linked to his services by the day. But if they wish to move for the youngster, it will be in the coming days, with Sesko's agent claiming that teams ideally must make a decision before the start of the European Championships next week. Now, maybe that's to put pressure for someone to sign him, but if you're any of these interested parties, I guess to activate his release clause, you want to have assurances that he's keen on signing for you. And I'm sure, you know, whether it's a striker, a central midfielder, or whatever, there's a lot of moving pieces in whatever club's wish list they have for the summer. So it all has to tie in. Apparently, the Gunners' interest in the striker is no secret, and with multiple teams circling him, they will be hoping they can fend off other admirers to batter out a deal for his signature. And despite Chelsea waiting in the wings, Arsenal believe they're the favourites at the moment. We've been here before. Big up Eddie Nketiah and Gabriel Jesus. Eddie Nketiah is linked with a move away, and if he is to go for 30+ million quid, this guy's 55 odd million pounds, and indirectly, in part, it pays for itself. I'd persist with Gabriel Jesus. But apparently, Sesko's release clause of 55 million, which in a day and age where half of his striking peers, I say, or the people linked with clubs, a lot more extortionate than that would probably make him more attainable to Arsenal, or attractive to Arsenal and elsewhere. Sesko's release clause of 55 million makes him semi-attainable off the bat for any club, and that could prompt Arsenal to make a bid for the Slovenian striker in the coming days, should Mikel Arteta and his coaching staff see fit to do so, to help their attack out next season in what should be a 3rd title race in 3 years. Apparently, the striker wants full focus ahead of a huge summer. According to Give Me Sports sources, it is Chelsea who are awaiting the response of Sesko's agent after they sent an offer to the Slovenian over a potential move. So if they've actually sent an offer and allegedly Arsenal haven't, then who is really the favourites? The Blues want to agree personal terms with the young hitman before they pay the release clause set by RB Leipzig to avoid any confusion. I can't begrudge them for that. Naturally, you want to go and do that. You know, if you haven't dotted I's and crossed T's, why would you activate his release clause? Allegedly, there's 5 clubs interested in him. Now, that could be 2 clubs from Saudi Arabia, in addition to obviously the interest in him by the English parties, or that could be Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, Saudi club, and an unknown party. You know, if I make an example, obviously shifting Osman is easier said than done. But if Napoli were to shift off Osman for a second, you know, for 100 and something odd million, 21-year-old who's going to get better and better and is only 21, surely they would look to be signing him. So we'll have to see, really and truly. Of course, wages shouldn't be a problem where he's concerned, and obviously the carrot of us being in the Champions League could help us. Arsenal believe they are the favourites at present, and Sesko's agents have indicated they wish to make a decision before the Euros that starts in under a week's time. Slovenia get their campaign underway on Sunday against Denmark, and the striker will want full concentration if he is to enjoy a successful campaign, which obviously you want to have a clear mind for the Euros. But there's several players that are being linked with either a move to a new club or a move away from their current employers. I understand you want full concentration, but, you know, footballers all year, they have to deal with speculation and noise and things going on in their personal life. So surely just get on with it and it helps itself. I don't think being compared to Haaland helps him, but, you know, when you're 6 foot odd and you're similar in terms of playing style to a degree, even though I think Sesko's general play is probably better, you can understand what prompts these things. From one player that's always linked with us to another, you know, we hear Aston Villa need to sell players because of PSR and profit and sustainability issues. Arsenal have been linked with Douglas Luiz before. He's 26 years of age. He's had his best goal scoring season, so that could be something Arteta could improve on. He can play as a 6 and an 8. We tried to buy him before. He's Premier League proven, international experience, got 2 years or 18 months left on his deal. I'm sure Aston Villa want to keep him at their club, but if they do need to make a big sale, then it probably will be him. And as we know, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United, and recently Juventus allegedly have joined the race for the Brazilian. Arsenal are looking to sign Aston Villa midfielder Douglas Luiz this summer, and they now have learnt the Brazilian's asking price. And he's also drawing interest, it says there, from AC Milan. Now, Italian clubs don't really have the financial muscle to go toe-to-toe with English clubs where that's concerned. And where you look at Juventus, they're getting a new manager. How do we know Thiago Motta wants him? And also, it seems like they're getting Coop miners and Rabiot might stay. So do they have the finances around that, really and truly? Arsenal allegedly want the Brazilian this summer. I mean, there was a previous interest in him, I guess, and we need a central midfielder, but time changes. How do we know he's our first choice target? And at 50 odd million quid, you know, that puts him in the realms with like people like Zubamendi. We kind of see the same sort of asking price. So we'll have to see where that is concerned, people. Once again, you know, I do believe he'd be a quality addition. Him and Declan Rice would be great. 50 million wouldn't be the worst. And he picked up 10 goals and 10 assists in all comps last season. So it could be someone, who knows, Arteta might spin the block. Once again, people, I think the vast majority of these rumours are owing to the fact that apparently Aston Villa are struggling to, you know, to abide by, you know, the guidelines of PSR. Aston Villa are considering selling midfielder Douglas Luiz this month to ease PSR concerns. Villa suffered a blow when their Premier League rivals voted against their proposal to raise the amount clubs can lose over a 3-year period from 105 million to 135 million. As a result, they're under pressure to raise cash before the end of the current PSR period on June the 30th. Luiz is attracting interest from Juventus and obviously AC Milan. Juventus, who once again are getting a new manager. So we'll have to see exactly what that means in this entirety. Romano has said because of Aston Villa's financial situation with FFP, they could let one player leave in the next weeks, and one of the players who has the possibility to leave is Luiz. He's always been appreciated by Arsenal. He was close to joining Arsenal more than 2 years ago. How close was he if we weren't hitting the asking price? So let's see if Arsenal will decide to return or not. At the moment, Arsenal are not actively working on this one, but in general could be a player they appreciate, and also for other clubs could become an option because of Aston Villa's, because for Aston Villa could be one of the players to watch in terms of outgoings this summer. 1 second, folks, just making sure everything's great there. Yep, we're going on. Apologies. Moving on with that. You know, Bayern Munich's Kimmich, again, we don't know where his future lies. Allegedly, Bayern Munich are open to consider big offers for Kimmich as talks over a contract extension are at a complete standstill. Now, heading into the Euros in his home country, with the experience he has with Bayern Munich having a new manager in company, I'm sure this isn't something they want. As you know, he's been linked with with a bunch of clubs. I personally don't think Arsenal are going to sign him, but it could be one to watch. Chiesa, who has been linked with Arsenal, as it looks like his days at Juventus could potentially be coming to an end. Romano has said that his agent will be in Italy next week to discuss all options for the winger's future. Juventus could let him leave in case of a good proposal, as current contract expires in June 2025. No final decision yet, as talks are still at early stages. Now, he could sign a new deal. He could be moved on. He's been linked with Napoli, Roma, as well as Arsenal. Unfortunately, where I look at him, for as much as I like him, injuries are a big thing. Would you not have Jadon Sancho? I wouldn't get too excited in the 40 million shout, purely because, you know, I'm sure he's going to want competitive wages per se. And he, you know, I don't know his current wages at Man United, but you'd imagine that they're probably 200 odd K plus a week. Is Jadon Sancho worth that? I like the illusion of Jadon Sancho. I think he's versatile. His link-up play is great. He's obviously young and ties in with what we're doing. He's obviously homegrown. Mikel Arteta has shown that he can develop players, and I'm sure Jadon Sancho and Mikel Arteta at some point must have crossed paths while they were both at City. And again, Sancho could just ask Bukayo Saka or Raheem Sterling what Mikel Arteta specifically for young players or young wingers has done. But again, the price tag, and there's a lot of unanswered, I mean, not the price tag, the wages, there's a lot of unanswered questions. But 40 million, there's a lot worse than that Arsenal could do. Allegedly, Mikel Arteta and Edu have reached a decision on Everton's Ahmadou Onana people. Apparently, Onana was originally linked to Arsenal in January, but according to the Mirror, Arsenal will not make an offer for this 60 million, I believe, Belgium international, as he isn't viewed as the right fit for Arteta's system. I think he'd be good for our system. I just don't think... I think Everton will price him out of a move, if I'm completely honest with you. Bruno Gomares is, you know, a dream for me, but probably someone Arsenal won't get. He's still being linked with both Arsenal and Manchester City. I can't see us spending £100 odd million on a 26-year-old. He has said he's happy at Newcastle, but has also been quite cryptic in essentially saying his future is in God's hands. That tells me he's not angling for a move, but wouldn't, you know, if there was offers put his way, consider it. Allegedly, Arsenal have been heavily linked with recruiting Osimhen along with Premier League rivals Chelsea. It's been suggested Mikel Arteta's men have gone as far as to lodge an offer worth 72 million for his services, which isn't the 100 million price tag, really. Apparently, the Napoli president has flown to France to meet with PSG over potentially convincing them to sign this individual for 120 million. So maybe Napoli have priced him out of a move, and indirectly him signing a new contract has probably shot himself in the foot. Young Mika Beref, who done quite well at Austria, people, you know, it's quite funny because we've got a striker here. Sesko's obviously better than him, but they're the same age. So you've got potentially Sesko is the same age. Kai Havertz is the number one at the moment. Jesus and Nketiah, whether they're still here in front of you, that's about 4 to 5 to 6 players that, you know, Martinelli, Trossard, they can all play up front. That's about 4 to 5 to 6 players that are all ahead of you. And where I look at the Charlie Patternos, the Mika Berefs, we need to get some money for them. And for him, you know, you've won a cup played in Austria week in, week out in front of thousands of fans. I guess it's very difficult to going back to sit on the bench, if even that at Arsenal, because only a certain amount of attacking players can be on the bench. But according to journalist Sasha Travelleri, he reports Beref is one of the players being considered as a replacement for Thiago at Club Brugge. Igor Thiago, that is, people. And it is unlikely he'll get an opportunity. But, you know, having got 29 goals in 55 games across 2 loan spells in all comps last season, you'd imagine, you know, he's doing his thing really and truly. Wait, that can't be Mika Beref. He never done that. Yeah, that definitely weren't Mika Beref who did that. That's the other lads. Apologies. Beref got 14 goals and 9 assists. I knew that didn't sound well. But either way, he's announced himself, and we hear that there's offers in the Championship. Studgras, from the moment he went on loan, said they tried to get him permanently. Club Brugge is interested. I think he's got 2 years left on his deal, or it's a 1 year with an option of another one. Make money, really and truly. You can't go broke making a profit. Allegedly, Joshua Zirkzee is still of interest to Arsenal and Manchester City, and he's agreed personal terms with Manchester United. Apologies. And he's agreed personal terms with AC Milan. So it seems like the rumours are going full circle. 40 million euros, apologies, release clause. And it seemed like AC Milan were the front runners for him. Osimhen rumours won't go away. We've been linked with Dominic Solanke. I like him. You know, 19 goals is attractive to anyone, but 65 million quid, where you look at Sesko and Zirkzee, who are cheaper, they ain't got the English tax. Now, strikers tend to peak late, and it looks like Solanke has found his feet, but it's a no from me. Kieran Tierney, we know the fact that he's fallen from grace. You know, it wasn't a bad loan spell at Sociedad, but it weren't amazing. His stock has fallen 10 million quid, and 10 million quid with probably a sell-on clause due for Celtic, so we're going to get even less. You'd imagine if he was elsewhere, you know, they would get more money than such. this just tells me we just want to get him off the wage bill. When there's rumours Arsenal want a new left back, Kyrill's ahead of him, Tomiyasu and Timber are there, and well, it's safe to assume, Zinchenko is ahead of him in the pecking order. So Tierney's just fallen from grace, essentially, man. I hope he could use the Euros to announce himself. If he is going to any Premier League teams, both Newcastle and Aston Villa have been linked, we definitely need to get more than 10 million quid. And that's quite shocking, really, because if he was at other clubs, he would get a lot more than 10 million. You'd at least get 20. Once again, Arsenal and Man United are still monitoring Bologna's Joshua Zirkzee amid strong interest from AC Milan. Both clubs are understood to be keeping a close eye on developments with the striker, who is among a number of attacking options Arsenal and United are looking at. Sky in Italy are reporting that Milan are still pushing to sign the 23-year-old after flying to London late last week for talks. Nothing was agreed, but they remain in contact with his rep, so it's still up in the open. And once again, Arsenal remain interested in acquiring the Dutchman. Fabio Vieira has been linked with a move back to Porto, potentially. They could only buy him on loan. As we know, he has showed little sprouts of his ability, but he hasn't been able to nail down a regular place. He was almost a forgotten man, and maybe going out on loan is an avenue to explore. I probably wouldn't sanction that unless we get some additions. You know, him and Smith Rowe, they both can't leave. You know, he's played on the right wing. You're not really like a Foden, a Cole Palmer, Bernardo Silva, a wide kind of playmaker. In the number 10, that's Martin Odegaard. In the left 8, that was Granit Xhaka's previously, and he didn't nail down the chance. And I think Fabio goes through this sort of cycle in that comes off the bench, does well, earns a start, does well, gets injured, and then it just keeps going. And he was signed for 30 million. You would imagine if he goes out on loan, you know, maybe returning to the Portuguese league or just getting regular football could help him, really and truly. We would have to fund part of his wages if he did leave on loan. He's got a great relationship with Martinelli at times on the pitch and as well as off it. I like Fabio, man. I'd give him one more year, but at the end of the day, like, we're not really seeing much in that regard. So yeah, people, let me know your thoughts on potentially Joshua Zirkzee, Osimhen, Sesko, Fabio Vieira potentially leaving, Kieran Tierney for 10 odd million quid, and everything else with Douglas Luiz and everything else we've discussed, people. I've actually had to do this video again because for some reason the audio just went blank on YouTube. But yeah, man, we keep going. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bells. Most importantly, stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.